Hey there, welcome to today's EFT session. I'm doing this EFT session because I have quite a few clients that deal with heavy bleeding, which makes perfect sense. I work with a lot of women over age 35, which means they're in perimenopause, and heavy bleeding becomes super common during this time. Partly because our progesterone is naturally declining and our estrogen is often high or just kind of crazy fluctuations, and that's going to lead to heavy bleeding, among other issues of PMS, etc. So I know that it can be hard when you're dealing with heavy bleeding, and obviously you need to work with it from a physical standpoint in terms of eating certain ways, taking certain supplements and herbs in order to help with that and help balancing out your hormones so that you don't bleed as much. Also, want to always check for fibroids. But in the process of going through heavy bleeding, I know it can feel really intensely emotional, right? And so we always have to take the emotions into the name of the game here. It's never just a physical thing, right? Physical, emotional, spiritual beings. And so this is going to help you as you are trying to process and work on that heavy bleeding in other ways. And it's amazing how sometimes, like going to acupuncture, which is really an energetic approach, can help with stopping things like heavy bleeding if you do this consistently. So let's go ahead and jump in. If you've been here before, you know that we start tapping on that karate chop point, which is on the outside of your hands. It can be either side, doesn't matter. So we're going to go from there to the top of our heads, to in between our eyebrows, outside of our eyebrows, underneath our eyes, underneath nose, chin, sternum, and then underneath the armpit, back up to the head again. So I'm going to say something and you're going to repeat after me. If you don't agree, doesn't feel right, you don't have to repeat after me. You either say something else or you skip on to the next thing. Okay. So just keep tapping, keep feeling it. Whatever comes to you, you're welcome to say that. All right. Let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in and release it out. Good. Repeat after me. Even though I'm experiencing heavy bleeding and it makes me feel tired and cranky and worried, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Even though it's really, really frustrating to have to use a lot of tampons or change my cup or my pad or my menstrual underwear all of the time because I'm bleeding so heavily, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. I know that I don't feel quite myself when I'm bleeding this heavily. And I know that something's going on with my body and it makes me feel a bit out of control. I just want to feel normal. I just want to bleed like a normal woman does for a period of time, and then it's over. I want my iron levels to be nice and strong. I want to have more energy and sleep better. And I know that I don't have these things, at least in part because I'm bleeding so much. When I think about what's underneath my fear, it's really about not understanding. Why does it have to be so hard to be a woman sometimes? Why can't I just live my life in the way that I want to and not have to deal with these issues around my reproductive system? Why does it have to take all my time and focus and energy? It makes me angry. It makes me feel alone It makes me want to throw in the towel. Even though I feel this way, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. There's a part of me that understands that this is simply a signal from my body to let me know that something is off. Part of me understands that it's telling me I need to make some changes in my life in order to stop the heavy bleeding. I know something like birth control pills may help to stop the bleeding, but isn't getting to the root cause of why I'm bleeding. So I'm taking the steps to figure out why. I'm ruling out things like fibroids and polyps by talking to my OBGYN about it and getting a vaginal ultrasound. I'm working with someone or researching about how estrogen excess can cause this kind of bleeding. I'm trying to get my hormones tested so I can see if my progesterone levels are low. I know that there are lots of things that I can do, including eating really good food to stabilize my blood sugar. So lots of protein and good fat. And cut back on things that are not helpful for my reproductive system, like sugar, high carbs, alcohol, drugs. I know that all of those things are part of why I'm experiencing heavy bleeding. And eating right, moving my body in ways that feels good, getting plenty of sleep, staying hydrated, taking rest throughout the day. All of those things will help with regulating my hormones. Taking out the things that are not useful will help with regulating my hormones. I know I have a lot more control in this situation than I currently think I do. It's easy to get into a space of feeling out of control, but I know that the reality is the things that I do on a daily basis are 90% of my hormone health. So I commit to myself. I commit to my hormone health. I commit to doing what I know is right for me. And I support my body in ways that can ease the impact of bleeding for a long period of time. I eat foods that are rich in iron. I stay away from foods that feed bleeding too much. I work with someone that can help me on this, or I do the research to really understand what's going on. I'm taking my power back. I'm going to stop this heavy bleeding. I'm going to reconnect to my reproductive system and love her and appreciate her and do what I need to do in order for her to be happy. Because her being happy means I'm happy. And I know this in mind, body, and spirit. Release it out. All right, hopefully that one really helped you with some of the emotions that can come up around heavy bleeding. come back, do it again. As you're in this process of working on your heavy bleeding, also check out my website, because I definitely share lots of ways to help with things that come up, like heavy bleeding, other issues that come up in perimenopause. It doesn't have to be this way. So I will see you next time.